Hey everybody, Kevin Harned. My good friend Justin Hilliard's here as well. We're glad everybody's jumping in on this Sunday evening. We got a lot to talk about. How are you, my friend? Oh, I'm having a tough time hearing you, Justin. Hang on a second. Try one more time.
How about now?
Just had you. Now what's going on? Hang on one second here. Bear with the technical difficulties. Apologies. Hang on a second. Be right back. Let me see if I can talk to you now, Justin. Can you hear me? I know you can hear me. Try it once more. There you go. I got you. All right, let's have a little discussion here. I know, and I apologize. I think we've got a little feedback here. This is a little setup in here. But Justin's a meteorologist. He's been involved with WAVE for a little while. I know when you were first training, we had a chance to make a tape with you here. And now you fly drones and you chase storms and you do a little weather all across the country, it seems like.
Yeah, the first time actually with really spending some time with the meteorologist, I think was with you as far as the TV side goes there. So I appreciate the time of actually getting up on the green screen there and the coaching that you gave me there.
Yeah, well, listen, you were out yesterday when all of this wild weather was happening. So I want to pull up some of your video that you were out sort of capturing and just walk us through what you saw.
Yeah, around 8 o'clock, I noticed that line of thunderstorms. It was really starting to firm up there, just to the southwest of us. And I wasn't so interested in that as I was the amount of moisture that was being slung north into the Louisville area. So around 9 o'clock or so, the first water rescue there that was at the beginning of that popped up, and that was over at Breckenridge and 6 Mile Lane. Anybody that's familiar with that area knows there's a train bridge that crosses over there. And, turn around and don't drown was not working that early in the night. No barricades set up at that point either. So being dark and the intensity of the rain that was falling, I could absolutely see someone driving into one of those places. Here you're looking at the Fairdale Road area. Most of the larger volume of flooding that you're seeing here was in those low-lying parts of Louisville. But at this point, we were about 3.5 inches in over probably 4 hours there. And the creeks already saturated, just couldn't keep up with this. So another water rescue occurred near the train tracks there off South Park Road. This is over towards Mason out in the Fairdale area. That's off Fairdale again, that Z06, man, I was feeling bad for those people. Here's an example of the what not to do here. You can see that water is really rushing over that road. You don't know if there's actually a road there at this point. So definitely don't be those people. This shot, they were actually moving from one house to the other. Their house was below water. They were moving over to their neighbor's house. But I talked to a couple of the neighbors on the porches. Most of these people, a lot of them were just sitting out front enjoying, a nice Saturday evening with a flooded front yard. But they said the last time that this happened was in 2018. That particular garage, they actually had 2 cars in there that were pretty well flooded out. That's on Linda Drive at Mason. And these people were just getting their puppy out of the house to go out for a walk. Didn't make too far, though, with the floodwaters out there. So the green light, only thing lighting up out there in this area, most of these houses along Mason and Fairdale. And there had been water rescues there earlier. This is Fern Creek Fire and Oklahoma Fire here showing up to Whispering Hills Boulevard, just to the east of Old Shep, near the apartments there. There's a creek that crosses the road. You can tell that a couple people made some bad decisions already at this point, and they were not going to be the last people to make those bad decisions. So I actually sat there for a little while watching, and didn't catch anybody floating off the side, but that was off Johnson School Road out in the Highview area. And just there you go. There's somebody that's just not paying attention, really. When it's dark, the road looks wet. Sometimes it's hard to tell if that rain's there, but they did make the right decision on that one and back on out of there. So some of the other people, not quite the same correct decisions.
And wasn't it wild to see just how fast that water rose so quickly?
Yeah, one of the things that was crazy at this particular spot was there's sewers that run under the road here, and every once in a while you can actually see bubbles and water shooting up from under somewhere there. You don't know if that manhole cover's there even at that point. But yeah, for a normal situation for us, when you end up with the flash flood, there's that little bubble there popping up at the bottom of the screen. Normally we're used to a intense, heavy single thunderstorm that sits in a location at one point, but man, the amount of 3 to 5 inches over this whole entire area, there's just nowhere for it to go. It had to come up.
Yeah, I mean, just wicked. And then, of course, you factor in the darkness of that. That makes it even worse because people can't really see. They decide to drive into it, and then they're in a bad situation.
Yeah, I think the timing was bad too. Being a Saturday night, it's not like it's a school night or people are home just resting. This was a night that everyone's been cooped up over the while with all the cold that's been out there. They want to go out and have a good night. It's not going to snow this night. Let's go out and have a good time. And they ended up finding, potentially ruining their cars, waterlocking the cars there.
Yeah, that was your video. This was also some video that made NBC Nightly News this evening. Of course, all of that heavy rain was followed by snow this morning, which also fouled things out.
Yeah, I woke up this morning. I was out till about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, so decided to sleep in a little bit later. But I actually got a time lapse over on my page where our security camera out in front of the house, over 2 hours, we were wet and flooded, and then we were completely concrete covered in snow.
Wow. Just a wild night all in general. When you look at the 24-hour period, we go from 4, 5, in some cases 6 inches of rain to 2.8 inches of snow. And that caused problems of its own through the morning on roads. So not only was it the floodwaters causing issues, but then we had slick roads this morning, especially through that window of about, 8 to 10 a.m.
Yeah, here in Jeffersontown at my house, I measured 4.19 on the water content yesterday into this morning with the flooding, and we had about 2.6 inches of snow here, and that was more than enough to cover Taylorsville Road, Blankenbaker, and all the main areas over here.
Now, this was, if you were watching NBC Nightly News tonight, they were set up right beside our crews off of Breckenridge Lane, and you can see 4 cars just submerged there.
Yeah, and it's bizarre here, too, as you can see how well they had the road blocked off there with actual reflective horses. They even brought lights out at one point, those orange flashing lights to put on top. And I don't know if the GPSs just weren't working right and couldn't figure a different way around or what, but those cars added 3 to what was in there when I started last night.
Wow. Just a wild time. For folks that are just now joining us, Justin Hilliard, a friend, a meteorologist, also here in Louisville, but has worked with UPS. You've worked with the drone fleet. You've worked with emergency services. I know you've been doing a lot of work with that drone. And boy, you really get some good views of what is happening in the weather world when you can get up above it. And we see that with our own drone fleet here at Wave.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer last night. I don't have any water-rated drones in the fleet right now. And even at last night's intensity level, even if you had a waterproof, you would have had a lot of water drops on that lens and not gotten too great of a shot. But if I would have had that last night, it would have been amazing to see just the span of I'm just seeing little snippets of that. It's dark. I can't see very far. The most fun is definitely when you get out in a storm chasing tornado scenario, which actually I think I was streaming to you all on one of those prospect tornadoes a while back. And you get the drone up, you can see a lot more than what you can see from the ground there. So if you're especially in the Kentucky area with the curvy roads and the high trees with the forests around here, it makes it a lot easier to just pull off the side of the road for a second, pop that drone up and get a really good look at the surroundings.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, what do you say we try to take a closer view of some of the weather that's going on? I'm going to try to control the computer. It's not cooperating. It's like on its last leg. There we go. I can see it here. So today we picked up 2.8 inches of snow. That brings our season total to 19.7. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think we're on track potentially with the end of this week that we might have one of the snowiest winters out there.
Yeah, I mean, already when you look at the season normal, 13.4, we've certainly surpassed that, and we've got a huge deal coming our way this week. Are you excited about snow, or are you more of a severe weather fan?
I'm a severe weather fan, but it definitely, there's a whole different level of skill that goes into the winter forecasting, and I've become more of a liking to the snow than it was in the past.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's talk a little bit about what we expect this evening. These are some of the snow totals we had from today. Of course, most, we thought we were going to get a dusting to an inch. We wound up in some places really surpassing that. 2.8 was the official total from the airport, 3 inches at the National Weather Service office. Obviously, with that snow and slush on the roads, plus the water from the rain that we had in the last 24 to 36 hours, we have the ability to refreeze this with temperatures dropping, and that's combined with a few snow showers going on across the area now. And consequently, we have the winter weather advisory tonight until 10 o'clock. So you've got to be careful on the roads tonight. It's not going to be widespread pandemonium like it was earlier, but there are a few slick spots.
Yeah, here in J-Town, coming home from dinner tonight, we were going down through Old 6 Mile there and actually experienced some snow drifts coming over the road there near the Pine Lake area. So definitely slick spots out there. The driveway, which was wet when we left for dinner and got home, there were some icy patches out there as well on the way out to get the mail. So definitely expect a refreeze tonight.
Yeah, temperatures in the teens late tonight. You can see the flurries at least are diminishing. I'll zoom into the metro. Currently over around Fern Creek, Glen Marion, as you work your way up between Linden and Prospect, so out the Westport Road area, Ford Truck Plant, probably seeing at least a few flakes flying. But in general, outside of a few flurries, southern Indiana, back out into parts of central Kentucky, the bulk of that snow or flurries ending for now, but that will not be the case later in the week or early in the week here. Get this one system passed, and then the next one's already on the map. What a season it's been. It's like one after another.
Yeah, I don't remember a season like this, honestly, in the past. We'll usually have 1, 2, maybe 3 bigger snow accumulating events there, but nothing where it's just one after another, and then some roller coasters of temperatures up there up in the 60s in between.
Yeah, no question. And I see Tammy saying, or Tommy is asking why the echo is so bad. I apologize for that. I have turned everything off I can figure here. So I'm not exactly sure why that is working. I've got a lot of buttons in front of me. I can try to help.
You sound okay to me on my end.
Yeah, I think it's probably a reverb coming back through your feed. But apologies for the feedback. Let me jump into some of the current readings, and then we're going to talk about our temperatures later tonight. We're at 29. That's our current temperature, so we're well below freezing. We see those numbers drop into the teens by morning, and that's going to cause a big problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of runoff water that's still trying to find out where it needs to go there. And as you mix that into the roads that are salted, it's going to slowly take that salt off those roads too, and potentially start to puddle and freeze, and watch out for that black ice when that happens.
All right, Justin, I'm going to let you go. We appreciate showing the video that you had, and we look forward to hearing back from you down the road, and we'll see what the snow brings coming up Tuesday into Wednesday. I'm going to talk a lot more about that coming up in a second, but I'll let you get back to the family. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thanks for the invite tonight.
All right, thank you. That was Justin Hilliard there. Try to get our audio back up here. All right, let's see. Now that's better. So that was the problem. So apologies for that. I know that's terribly painful to listen to when it's running like that. And now, of course, the computer, it's not my day with the computers, I'll tell you that, because one is running like a snail's pace. The other one keeps kicking me out. So hang on. I'm going to jump in to talk about the big snow that we expect coming our way early in the week. So now that we've got our microphones settled here where you're not getting the reverberation, let me go back and bear with me here. All right, there we go. All right, so we mentioned, and thank you all for bearing with me. Appreciate that. I see we've got several folks jumping in. I wanted to get Justin on because his video was so impressive. He chases all storms, but when we were talking about that flooding, I mean, we had over 25 water rescues in Jefferson County. They sent folks out to Eastern Kentucky. That was a big deal, what went on last night with that impressive rain. And I think we still have a big deal to go with this next system that moves in late Tuesday and Wednesday. So we talked about that. We mentioned the snow flurries today and light snow showers, meaning what's going on now, not the snow we had this morning. But of course, some of that's melting and temperatures are going to be in the teens overnight tonight, and that will cause some refreeze. So you're going to have to use a little caution early Monday. Some slick roads are possible. Many schools are out for either on NTI because of President's Day or other issues, but the weather is playing a role too, even for Monday, and I'm sure that's only going to be stacked up further in the week. So if you're a kid, now it's different than it was when I was in school, because when you were out, and it was a fun day. Now it's like, well, we've got to study from home. Yeah, okay. The light snow showers that will end this evening, temperatures in the teens early Monday. That means some refreezing, especially on those untreated roads. And that will give way to a few slick spots across the area. Notice the rain totals. Wowza. I mean, you start to get into that orange color, that's 4 or 5, and then the reddish color, 6 inches of rain. You see that up around, say, Covington. And then in our viewing area, 4 or 5 inches across southern Breckenridge, northern Hardin, southern Meade, into parts of Bullitt County, even Jefferson County. I mean, we just had a tremendous amount of water with that rainfall over the last 48 hours. Consequently, we've got a lot of flood warnings underway. These are our flood alerts that we have. And I'll tell you, every county, 120 counties yesterday under some part of each county under flood warnings yesterday. So that should tell you just how impressive the rain was across the Commonwealth. And consequently, we have river levels that are on the rise. And you'll notice the Rolling Fork near Boston. Now, I grew up in New Haven, so I'm familiar with the Rolling Fork. We have a big family farm down in Lion Station right along the Rolling Fork, so I know this river pretty well. And it's forecast to go 42.15 feet is its current reading, forecast to go up to 46.1. That takes it into the major flood stage, or excuse me, the major flood stage looks like by tomorrow. So it will be going up even more than where it's at now. Floods a lot of cropland down there, but it also floods some homes. So if you're in that area, just know the river is on the rise, the Rolling Fork. We also have flooding going on over near Frankfort, and you'll notice this is the Kentucky River. This too forecast to go just shy of major flood. This will be in that moderate flood. And that's occurring pretty much now and will continue through the day tomorrow as well. Take a little bit of time before that completely recedes. Other rivers across the area, we get into southern Indiana. You got the Blue River expected to take a little spike up at Fredericksburg there. This will take place now and then starting to come back down. So it likely reached its crest earlier today. That will continue to sort of recede as the evening wears on. A lot more folks jumping in here, and we haven't got to the snow part of the forecast yet. We've simply talked about the snow we had this morning, the refreeze expected tonight with a few slick spots, and now I'm going through just a few of the river levels with you so you know what to expect for folks that may be along these tributaries. We've got a lot of flood warnings that continue. We'll go down into Hart County. This is the Green River at Munfordville. Likewise, expected to go into that minor flood stage, getting close to moderate flood stage during the day tomorrow and again on Tuesday. So that's a peek at some of the rivers that we have across the area. When you take a look at what's been ongoing across the entire viewing area, it's been mainly rain with this morning's snowfall. All right, well, you can see from our camera in Corydon, yes, we do have snow that is on the ground. We've got more snow on the way. Could be a lot of it. I'm going to tell you and show you some of the model data. I'm going to go through my thoughts on this. New data is continuously rolling in. So we'll go through that. Let me reset, again, the maps. And when we come back in just a short 1 minute, I'll be able to roll through our snow forecast. It's a doozy. Hang in there with us. We'll be right back. All right, we're back with you here. So we've got a lot to talk about because a major winter storm looks to be setting up as we go into the early part of the week here. Again, I mentioned we had snow on the ground over not just in southern Indiana and Corydon, but across a good chunk of the area. Pretty nice snow. I mean, it was anywhere between 1 to 3 inches of snowfall early this morning. Now our focus turns to the next alert day. Once we pass this evening, wipe that alert day off the board, we've got 2 more. I went ahead and flagged Tuesday as an alert day, more for a preparedness day, but it kicks in late Tuesday night with snow increasing late Tuesday, and Wednesday will be the big day, okay? So this is the potential for some significant snowfall. It's too early to really map out specifics, though. I'll be honest with you. I went ahead and drew a map, but I'm telling you with caution, we're going to be adjusting where those heavier bands are as we get a little closer. So I'll show you that. But in general, all of the computer data is spitting out 4 to 10 inches of snow across the area. Now, some get the higher amounts, very few, and others get the lower end of that, right? So let's talk about it. And let's jump into the maps. First of all, we've got an area of low pressure way out west. Going to team up with an area of low pressure pulling moisture in from the Gulf. That brings a wide open transport of water, which in the cold air means snow. And this will be spilling across the area late Tuesday and Wednesday. Continues to snow through that time and then gradually moves out by Wednesday afternoon as it fizzles out. But the temperatures tank in the wake of this snow. Once the front moves past, boom, we're in the deep freeze. You factor in a pretty good snowfall accumulation with that, and we're talking single-digit lows, maybe even below zero. We'll have to wait and see if we can clear the clouds out fast enough. But if that happens, we could go, in some places, below zero. We'll take a closer view of that when we look at the 10-day coming up. You'll also notice that snow cover potential comes right across Missouri, Illinois, through Kentucky, southern Indiana, right into the Virginias. So, again, this is a widespread, this is a big snow, big storm. All right. It's been in the models for quite some time. When we start talking about systems that are moving our way, we like to flag the alert day as a symbol to say, hey, yoo-hoo, in your busy world, because you're running kids around, you've got, everybody's got 2 or 3 jobs these days. It's just meant to say, hey, pay attention to this day. It's an alert day. And then as we get closer, we're able to sort of fine tune what those problems may be. But last week, we went ahead and said, you know what? All eyes. I mean, when you take a look at the track record of our alert days this year, we've been given almost like a week's notice to these big weather events. That's pretty good. Doesn't always work that way. But it has this year because we've been in just that type of pattern where it's repetitive, one after another. I mean, most of the time when we got one storm coming in, the next one's already in line, just a couple of days away. I mean, think back, early January, we had that huge snow, 10 inches of snow fell, followed by another minor snowfall. Then we went into a minor snowfall with tornadoes following that, then another snow at the end of the week. Then we just had flooding and snow this morning. It's like, holy moly, can we catch a break, Mother Nature? Ease up. No end in sight. So here we are. We're a couple of days out, 3 to 5 days out. Pinning down the general setup is where we are, all right? So this is the progression. Typically 6 to 10 days out, we're keeping track of models. Once they get in decent agreement, boom, we flag the alert day to say, hey, now we have consistency. So we did that last week. Now we're pinning down the general setup to say, all right, is this going to be all snow? Are we going to have to deal with any ice? What are our temperatures profiles looking like? And then by the time tomorrow gets here, we should really start to hone in on the specific timing and the amounts. So today, you're going to hear me talk in generalities. We're saying late Tuesday through Wednesday, so it's a broader scope in time. By tomorrow, hopefully, we can narrow that window down. And the amounts, you heard me say 4 to 10 inches. I haven't given any particular locations on that yet, and that's what everybody always wants to know. But regardless, I mean, that's a sizable snow, even if you get the low end, right? Wild. And then once it's underway, it's all about the nowcasting. Who's seeing those heavier pockets? How's that, how are the temperatures trending? All of that stuff. This is going to be cold. So this will be a snowmaker, okay? We don't have to worry about rain. I don't even think we have to worry about any freezing rain on this. It's a snowmaker, and it's got a decent amount of moisture with it. The question is, what happens before it arrives here? And as the high resolution data starts to kick in for us, what does that say as it brings it across the Ohio and Tennessee valleys? All right, enough on that. Let's talk about the model projections here. And you'll see the NAM is a little farther north. The graph, an in-house model that we have, takes the heaviest snow, those darker purples south. The HER, that's the high-resolution model. Pay no attention to that because it doesn't go out far enough. It can't capture the storm, which is why it's not showing very much at all. But early indications show the initial snow coming north, okay? So that would mean typically that the higher totals in that model will go north. But the graph is south. The GFS is south. The Euro is south. Consequently, when I painted our forecast, I painted the heaviest just south, at least for today. Again, early guess. Most people would never even throw out a guess, and I probably shouldn't, but because it's been such a winter, why not, right? I'll give you my guess this far out. You can't hold me to it, right? Not yet. It's Sunday. We'll fine-tune this and get it a little more precise as we get through the day tomorrow. And then certainly early Tuesday, we ought to be really honed in on it. But this is where we're at today. So let's take a closer view. Those are the computer models. You want to see what I painted? I'll show it to you. I did paint an 8 to 12 inch band. I think there's going to be a narrow band. It may be more narrow than what I've painted here, but 8 to 12 inches somewhere in the viewing area. Now, does that go south? I think the data today points that it would be south. All besides the one model that kicked it to the north. But look at that. I mean, the dark blue, 4 to 6 inches, the lighter purple, 6 to 8 inches. And then you've got that swath of 8 to 12 in there somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised to see double-digit inch snowfall accumulations somewhere in the viewing area. Will it be this exact spot? Well, I'd be Houdini if it is this far in advance, but could be. But we'll be fine-tuning that. It's a wild setup coming our way. I will say that. So when we look at the winter weather alerts that are already in place, you can see the winter storm watch from the Weather Service, an indicator that they expect 4 inches or more of snow through that time frame, Tuesday night through Wednesday in that zone. That covers almost all of their counties, certainly all the ones in our viewing area. And then left out would be Carroll, then Jackson, Jennings, as well as Lawrence counties. And why are they left out? Well, they're controlled by different Weather Service offices. You've got the one in Wilmington, Ohio, that controls Carroll County, and then Indianapolis for our southern Indiana counties. And their criteria is a little bit different. So that's why they're not in it yet. Doesn't mean they won't be. They're just not in it yet. Okay. So when we look at the data that's pouring in, I'll go through a few of these. And again, for all the weather geeks, they're going to like it. Everybody else is going to be like, holy moly, this is a little much. You can see through noon on Wednesday, the graph spits out 2.5. That's through noon. All right. Not too big of a deal. And then here comes the GFS for Louisville, 3.9 through 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Here comes the Euro, 4 inches through 2:30 on Thursday. So really, if you look at that, it's 4 inches through late Wednesday. And then you get a few light snow showers after that. So in general, it's a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night, Wednesday snowmaker, which is why I put the alert days on both of those days. All right, I'm going to try to take some of your questions here. I know a lot of you have been chiming in, so let me jump back. I apologize. I'm sort of hobbling on one computer because this one is just creeping. I think it needs a Windows update or a reboot, so I apologize. So let me go in, and I'll be able to see on this computer over here. I'll keep the 10-day up while we have this discussion, okay? All right. I see you here. Christy, I'm with Christy. Please make it stop, right? I mean, how wild has this year been? It's been a little nutty. We haven't had a year like this in quite some time, like what, 2012, 2013, it seems like. A lot of folks have plans. Chris is saying she has surgery Thursday morning at U of L, traveling from Salem, worried about the drive. Again, they do a pretty good job of the main roads, even if we get the larger snow totals and we don't have to worry about ice. That would be nice, but it's certainly going to bear watching. So keep an eye on it. Yeah, Amanda says, can you order spring, please? I put that order in like 3 weeks ago. Stuck in the U.S. Postal Service, I think. Alan always giving his opinion. He says 6 to 10, it kills softball practice. Yes, that would, Alan. It really would. Weather whiplash, Angela Vanderberg, a big weather fan. Yes, I say that all the time. It's like, man, we go from one thing to another. We had that 170-degree day, which was maybe just shy or tied a record high. I think it was just 1 degree from the record. And it's like ever since then, it's boop, 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 you know, the roller coaster we're on. Some folks, Nancy wants to know the timing. She works until 7. Yeah, good question. Right now it looks late Tuesday. Earlier I said after 5, but it's probably going to be even later than that from the way it looks today. But certainly you'll want to check back tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening. All of the, we don't have the high resolution data yet, so it's not even developed. We're just sort of going off of what we think is going to happen. All right. Amy says, get out your sleds. Always a fun time. Sledding. That's right. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I should just pack up on Wednesday once the snow is already on the ground. Hit Cherokee Park with everybody. The last time that ice that was on the ground, I don't know if that made it better or not, but it certainly lasted a lot longer. Seems like it might have made it better. And there's Eli pointing out the positive part, and that is we are in the 50s by the end of the 10-day. Fingers crossed. Once you get 10 days out, things can really change. Let's hope not. And then, of course, everybody gets excited when you show the snow map. So Shelly's like, so Bardstown may be in that 8 to 12. Anybody may be in the 8 to 12 range. We don't know yet. The bottom line, it's for illustration just to say somebody could get those higher totals. Really too early to pinpoint exactly where. Looking at the data today, that's where I would draw it if I had to draw it, which I did. We've got folks watching from all over. Jason's down in Cloverport. Hello to you. And then Carrie's saying, will it clear up on Wednesday? Well, you know, that depends how much snow we actually wind up with. It's a lot easier for a few inches of snow to clear up than 10 inches of snow. But regardless, look at the temperatures. It's not going to clear up fast, no matter what amount you get. I mean, we're in the 20s for highs for the first 3 days of the week, and then banking on snow that accumulates, even if it's the lower end, we're going to be in the 30s. So, you know, we're going to see a lot of snow. But, you know, that's going to clear up. It's not going to clear up fast, no matter what amount you get. I mean, we're in the 20s for highs for the first 3 days of the week, and then banking on snow that accumulates, even if it's the lower end, we're going to see those numbers drop into the single digits. And some by early Friday could be below 0 as those skies start to clear just a bit. So we'll have to see. I don't suspect it will clear fast. Here's Anita saying, is Brian loving this? From our team, Brian Good is the snow lover, but even he is ready for it to end. Believe it or not. I know the other snow lovers like Christy are like, let it snow. I think we're all sick of it because we're not getting any sleep around here. It's like, whew. And we're not even to the busy season. Severe weather season's typically the crazy time, not winter. I mean, sometimes in the winter you have a couple of like rounds, but not constant like this. Any chance it could move north? Yeah, sure it can. I mean, the whole system's going to move across us, so we're all going to get snow. The heavier band could move north. Yeah, but regardless, even if you wind up on the lower end, you're getting a decent snow, unless it just completely fades out, which I have no reason to believe that it would. Not even sure how it could. Some folks are ready for more snow. Nathan's like, bring it on. I want more snow. Vanessa's, I'm loving this weather. Yes, I was loving it up until it's like, okay, now we've got tornado warnings in the middle of the night. Now we've got flooding in the middle of the night. Now we've got snow that's accumulating up to 10 inches. It's like, oh, Excedrin, please. Let's see. Ted, not a fan of 4-letter words. Sounds, yeah, yes. The snow, it's here. Will the bulk of the snow fall Wednesday? Yes. So from Wednesday early morning through Wednesday, I'd say midday or early afternoon is when that window looks to be. And again, that's the precision part that happens over the next day, is we're able to sort of fine tune and drill down to a finer timeline to say, here's when it looks like it's going to start, here's when it peaks, here's when it looks like it's going to end. And as we start to get that higher resolution data in tonight and tomorrow, we'll be able to fine tune the timeline for the snow and be able to talk more precisely about the amounts and where we think those will be. So today's sort of a guess. Tomorrow it gets a little more precision involved. It'll be a better guess. So check back. Let's see. JCPS ready once again. Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, JCPS is on NTI Monday and Tuesday, I think. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, if that's true, which I think it is, then there's a chance they may not go all week. How bananas is that? That would be like they didn't go the last time, right? All week. And then, of course, we've had the flu thrown in there, too, which, by the way, I was in the emergency room with my dad on, got my days mixed up because I was out the end of last week, Sunday now, Tuesday, Wednesday night, packed. I mean, I felt like everybody in the city had the flu. It was packed. In fact, waited in the ER for 14 hours. Rough. It's better now, though, so thank you. Justin, who was on with us earlier, he said, who wants to see Kevin and I out sledding? Yeah. All right. I'll take you up on that, Justin. I'll go. Why not? Break an arm. That would be my luck. Need to go to Belsky's backyard and make a snowman. I was telling Brian the other day, we need a snowboard out there. Like, why do we have an outdoor weather garden that doesn't have a snowboard? I can't believe we haven't thought of this before now. Actually, we have. We talk about it every year, I think. We just haven't done it. I need to build a snowboard, you know, a nice big snowboard where you can see the numbers clearly and then just put a little GoPro camera on it or something, watch the snow accumulate. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe if I can throw one of those together by tomorrow, maybe we'll set it out there for Tuesday night. Okay, so see, here's Brian. He's like, can you show that snow total map again? Well, see, this is what I didn't necessarily want to do because I don't want to get held to it this far in advance. I'll show you the models. Let's see if I can get this computer. It needs a swift kick right here. This thing is slow. All right, I think it's going to pop up here. Take your time. There it is. So again, you can see our forecast that I painted with the heavier total south. The NAM doesn't necessarily agree with that, but it's the only one that paints the heavier snow at this point farther to the north. The HRRR appears to be coming in a little farther to the north. So based on that, because those are the higher resolution models when you compare to the GFS and the Euro, so it's a tighter grid. So based on that, we may have to push the heavier snow band a little farther north. That's possible. So again, we're still just now getting some of the high resolution data in, and the HRRR, which is the highest of the resolution that we have, won't be in until tomorrow morning. So I'll leave that up for a second. Sorry, we're in computer nightmare in here today. Normally, it's like things are, well, I won't say normally. Many of the times the computers are humming along. But today, it's rough. Let's see. Kevin, this is early. We have had 4 to 6, 11 to 13 if it phases. Do you see a phase potential from Bryce? Well, again, you know, we've got the system coming in from the west with the strong flow of moisture from the Gulf. And, you know, we are going to have plenty of moisture to work with. So, and it's going to be cold. They're in the 10-day forecast. It's not like we're coming back down to freezing or below freezing. We're substantially below freezing through that time. So the cold air is in place. We don't have to worry about that. Sometimes when we're talking about an influx of a lot of moisture, we're talking about temperatures that may be in the mid 30s and falling. And so then the temperature has to catch up, meaning drop enough to support snow. That's not going to be the case in this deal. I mean, it's going to be cold. It's going to snow. The question is, how much moisture will we be working with? We don't truly have an answer for that until we get some of the higher resolution guidance. Chris says, keep it coming, 15 inches. All right, we'll see. Bring on the heat. All right, I think I might be starting to get more in line with Kathy. Order some summertime, some summertime. Yeah, that was so good I put it up there twice, Scott. If it's going to be cold, it might as well snow. Yes, I suppose. Or it could warm up and not snow. I'm a fan of that. Oh, yeah. You know, this is more and more. Courtney says the migraines have been a killer. There's so many people around here sensitive to the weather. And, you know, Tom used to do the aches and pains forecast. And a lot of it just has to do with the change in pressure. So you get these areas of low pressure that come across, especially people with like joint problems, because you get greater separation when there's lower pressure. So when you have low pressure, which is associated with storms, because that's what allows the air to rise. So that condenses, you get the clouds, you get the snow, yada, yada. You follow me there. But what happens in our joints is that there's not as much compression because the air has essentially less weight. And while the air has weight, when we have higher pressure, sort of keeps our joints a little tighter. But when we have lower pressure, we wind up spreading those a little bit apart, maybe not as much fluid in between them so much. So they can wind up hurting a little more. So Danny says, Terry Miners calls it the snow, the white blanket of death. Yes, Terry's a nut. I worked on the radio with Terry for many, many years from here. And yes, he has all of the sounders. Dun, 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 the white blanket of death. Closed President's Day for the schools, yes. Bill, you're good to see you. The snow models and our general forecast early that will change is on the screen. All right. Nikki says tomorrow JCPS is off for conferences and a gold work day for teachers on Tuesday. Yeah, that's what I thought. So let's see. Christina. She says, yeah, class of 94, 49 years old, try to avoid the sled. That's the crazy part. I'm so crazy that I don't realize I'm almost 50. So I see everybody out there. I'm like, well, that looks fun, until you wind up in the emergency room yourself with a broken arm or neck or whatever my luck would be. All right, rolling through some of your questions, looking for questions. Yes. Weather Geek says, send Be Good over to my house to get his snow out of my driveway. I tried that at my house. I'm like, dude, you want some snow? Come over here and get it, because I am finished with it. I forgot his snow total. He did send his total earlier. It was close to 3 inches of snow, I believe, which is what it was across Jefferson County from this morning. I mean, that's a decent snow. We thought we might get an inch. Boy, that overperformed. And boy, did it come down hard. It really trashed the roads, too. I mean, we had massive problems this morning. Well, those 3 tour buses, well, that sent like 7 people to the hospital. That was on 71. Was it the Gene Snyder or 7? It was anywhere. It was somewhere close to the Gene Snyder in 71. But boy, that was a mess. Let's see. Here's Patricia. Hope and pray all stay well, safe, and warm. All right. Well said there. We hope that's the case. Christy, got to go get milk, bread, and toilet paper. Well, now, that's a funny story. So I asked my mom before I left Bardstown yesterday. I said, hey, let me run to the groceries or anything you need. She says, yeah, I need milk and bread. I said, Mom, do you realize when I go into Kroger and just buy you milk and bread, that it's going to send the store into a panic? I did. I bought milk and bread, but I threw in some like fruit and other things to not make it look like I was just going to get milk and bread, which is what she said she wanted. That's a true story. Courtney's saying the roads this morning were almost impassable. Yeah, truly they were between that like 8 to 10 a.m. time frame. That snow came down so heavy it just blew the visibilities out too. Bill says he's going blind. He can't see the well, there are no numbers on the map, Bill. So that's the fun part. All right, I'll show it one more time here. I'm going to show my drawing, but please know it's going to change because we're a little bit far in advance without the high resolution data. But I did paint an 8 to 12 inch swath in there, but it could move. The latest data coming in is farther north for some of the heavier snow. I think that all of us are in the ballpark of something greater than 4 inches. I don't know the top end on that. I don't think a ton of places are going to get 8 to 12 inches, but I'd say that 4 to 8 inch range seems to be a pretty good bet. So there are the numbers for you, Bill. Now, I'll put it back on this so everybody can sort of see the models. Oh, look, the HER. Oh, look at this. The HER just updated, coming in a little further south. See, this is what we do in the Weather Center all day. We're like looking at the models, looking at the runs, like, look at that. That matches more the GFS and the Euro, the long-range models, the graph, our in-house model. All right, well, we have to wait for the next several runs to see if it's on to something. These models bounce around all over the place until they sort of find stability. And to do that, we really need the upper air data that comes into the higher resolution models. And once that starts to happening and settles down, we sort of bog down the chaos in the model, and we can try to get a better idea. Again, we're a little far out. Sunday, we'll get the new NAM run in coming in the next 2 hours here. So by 11 o'clock tonight, again, we'll have another updated map for you. A lot of folks have asked about the snow ratio on this. Again, we're super cold, both at the surface and aloft. So I suspect it's going to be maybe 10 to 1 or slightly above. Okay, so 10 to 1, 12 to 1, something like that. That's what I'm guessing now. Again, the high resolution data, the balloon data will help with that. Dan is saying headed to New Mexico for work, back home midnight on Wednesday. What's the timing look like? Should be out of here by, well, let me think, midnight on Wednesday. So I think you're probably good either way, meaning midnight Wednesday. If the snow's coming in Tuesday night, early Wednesday, that would be midnight Wednesday. But I think that, it's minor through that time. I think it really cranks up overnight and into the morning hours on Wednesday. So I think that's the heaviest of the snow. All right. Well, listen, we've had a chance to go through a lot of the data. Boy, we've talked about a lot tonight. I appreciate Justin Hilliard, meteorologist. He's worked with UPS. He works with emergency management, flies drones, all around good guy and storm chaser. He jumped on tonight to talk about his video that he was out shooting last night with all of the flooding. So I wanted to say a big thanks to him. That was a wild scene, too, to see that unfold, the flooding. And then, of course, that was accompanied with thunder and lightning, followed by the snow this morning. That's yielding some slick spots tonight as temperatures tank. So we will refreeze the surface. So if your roads weren't plowed, you still have snow, that's going to freeze. The water that may have either where the snow melted or the rain that may be there, creating a few slick spots. This isn't like it's going to ice up the whole city, but we could wind up with some slick spots overnight, early Monday. So be careful with that. That was one target area we focused on. That's the alert day that's in place now through this evening. And then we switched gears and started to focus on the snow potential, with the potential for a significant winter storm Tuesday night into Wednesday. And this one shows promise for a pretty good snowmaker moving into the area. Again, late Tuesday, more likely early and through the day Wednesday. So now, the takeaway of this is we'll be getting more precision with our forecast, both in the timeline and within the location and amounts over the next 24 to 36 hours. So stay tuned for updates, as we say. All right. Here's a question saying from Carrie, how do we know if they use our photos on TV? Well, we show photos. You can send them to us in your app. A lot of times we'll request them on the Wave Weather Facebook page. And when we request those photos, you're agreeing to let us use them by our terms of service that's on there. And then we can pull those right into our computer system. So we will definitely be doing that. But to know, you just have to watch, because we have so many newscasts. We use photos all the time, especially with snow. So we get thousands of photos. We can only use, a dozen a day or so. So that's the way to go on that, is post them when we sort of solicit them on Facebook or on the Wave Weather app. They'll always be online. Frankly, more people see them through our app than probably on TV. So makes it nice. Nathan is saying, is there a chance for a winter storm warning? Absolutely. Yeah, I suspect that would be the next stage. So the stages of this would be alert day from our team saying, woohoo, pay attention. This day something looks wild here. We've got enough confidence to say, at least for now, it looks wild. Then the weather service would jump in and say, all right, we're going to put out a watch, which they did. Next would be the warning or advisory. So stay close. All right. And if you don't have TV, we're always on. We have Louisville's only 24/7 streaming weather live stream. And weather information, you're watching this there now, and you can get it right from the comfort of your iPhone or Android device or whatever else. Fire Stick, Amazon, whether that's Roku, YouTube, we're on everywhere. So you can find us. We're out there. All right, that's going to wrap it up. We've got a little more data to pour through this evening, and we're going to do that, and then we'll have an update on Wave News at 11 o'clock tonight, and I hope you'll join me then. Appreciate everybody jumping on with their comments, and look forward to rolling through the data this evening again, just to really see what it's looking like as we get a little closer to the event. That's always the important part, is what's the data say next, because it's not always, it changes. In other words, it's not always the same. What it looks like today, I can guarantee you by the time late Tuesday or Wednesday roll around, it's going to be a little different. It has been rather consistent, but it will be a little different. There you see the 10-day, just to show those cold temperatures moving in for the end of the week. Nighttime lows, single digits,
could go below 0 with the heaviest of the snowpack. Daytime highs in the teens Thursday and Friday. Warmer temperatures moderating slowly over the weekend and hopefully back into the 50s by early to mid next week. All right. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's 9:05. We'll see you tonight on Wave News at 11 o'clock. Have a good night, everybody.